So I want to show you guys how you can go from having a Dxf created for your toolpath and actually load that into the machine and start a cut. So we want to have Torchmate cam open, and we want to go File, Import Dxf. We're going to go with our demo path scribe first. You want to do the scribe before you do the plasma cut. You go ahead and save the FGC file as whatever it's going to be. For the feed rate on the scribe, we've been running around 80 inches a minute. You can set that as your XY feed rate. Everything else, scale 1 to 1. Everything else, all the other settings should be good. You want to make sure your program 0 location is at XY of the import file. So you can see now it's putting the text in the right at 0 on the machine. Now what we have to do in order to merge the two toolpaths together into one so they all run at the same time is we have to copy all of this G-code and save it, and we're going to actually combine that later with the plasma toolpath. So we're going to go ahead and paste that into Notepad. It's important before all the N lines, all the N10, N20, which is the actual code, you want to have a line that says M32. M32 is the code for the plasma, or it's the code for the engraver. So that's going to run. And that's going to indicate to it that it'll select the correct offset. So now we can go ahead and import another Dxf, which will be our plasma, and save that. Follow the same procedure as before, but set your feed rate to 175 inches a minute for we're cutting, I think, 045 steel, or 045 inch steel, and that feed rate's been working pretty well for us. So it's going to generate G-code almost immediately. What we want to do is follow the same procedure as before, copy that. We're going to go to the end of our code. We're going to type M31, which is the code to switch to the plasma tool, and that's going to load the associated offsets for that. And we can just paste our G-code in after that line. So all this code up here is for the scribe, and then we have an M31, and then all the code down here is for the plasma cutter. So now what we want to do is copy all of this code and load it back into the editor. So we can go edit, select all, and paste. And now we have that M32 at the top, and then M31 to switch to plasma, and it's all saved as one toolpath. Then we want to click Update Toolpath, and that's going to load everything into one file. And then we go ahead and save when it prompts us. Now you want to make sure the default setting for the Torchmate is to have the tool selected as none. You want to actually have it selected as number 1, otherwise that M32 code isn't going to load the right offset. Now we're pretty much ready to go here, but we need to go through the turn on procedure for the machine. So we want to load, this is the controller, or this houses all the controllers for the stepper motors. We want to turn that on. As soon as that activates, we go to controller, and we want to select online. And go ahead and hit yes when it says reset to current tool to previous coordinates, travel direction, and current tool to previous online values. And then it's going to ask you if you agree with all the safety protocols. Just go ahead and do that. Next step, we want to turn on the plasma cutter. It's just that switch there, and that'll activate. Now there's a procedural thing we do. Before every cut that we perform, we want to purge all the air out of the line. So we flip this switch to the, the 10 o'clock position, and that'll purge all the air out of the line. We want to leave that for about 30 seconds just to make sure the air in the line is completely dry. That'll make the tips last a lot longer, and it'll make the cuts a lot better. Last thing we want to do is turn on the actual torch controller, which is down here. There's a switch on the back left corner right underneath the one of the cables. And we can go ahead, and that's going to turn on. Now since we're going to be cutting well, we don't need to do this quite yet, but in order to actually activate it, you hold down the cut button until that red light turns on. And now it's able to cut. Now in order to actually start this program, first of all, we're going to jog it to a position. We have a handy tool on here which is a laser that indicates the position of the tool over the part. So you can go ahead and move this around to where we think is a good position. And we'll call that good. Now, when we're at the position we want to be in, we go to Program, 0 All. And now we're actually set where we want to be on this program. When we run this code, you can go ahead and start, and it'll make the cut. You filmed all the rest of it.